Hello everyone, this is Ashley here with another reading video. And if you couldn't tell, I've got my mask back on, meaning that it's time for more, well, I like to say special stories, as I do say so myself. Plus it's on DeviantArt, that means I can enlarge the text. Because, well, when it comes to other things, I usually have my normal glasses on because, I can't really enlarge the pictures. Pictures text. And this one was recently posted by Danny. And if you must know, she definitely writes creative stories. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, without further ado, I'm about to read Sometime is All You Need. Warning, self-harm. Read at your own risk. Well, thank you for that warning, Danny. And for those who pretty much don't really want to, well, listen to this, if you're like a younger viewer or something, then I highly suggest you click on something else, because it's not really this is not really the channel for you. Or at least this video is not really for you. The rest, I hope you enjoy. It was a stormy night. Back at the Death Egg, all the egg bosses were within their respective bases around the globe, except for a few. Danny had completed another mission for the doctor. The light blue fox dropped off the requirement information at his desk with respect. The doctor was pleased with her results and succession. "Why, thank you, Danny. I have been trying to get my hands on this disc for a while. Is it a top secret disc?" I'm sorry, but when I hear a disc, I immediately think Shadow the Hedgehog. Because I have played that game before, guys. Eggman said with glee in his voice as he looked through the data. All went well for a few minutes until his once satisfied tone turned bitter. One of the projects in particular was not something he wanted to see. "What?" The fox flinched in fear, knowing what he was responding to. "The GUN was planning to use this machine to puncture a hole through my entire defenses. My entire defenses! Why did you not report this back to me the moment you received it?" The fox did her best to muster enough courage to speak up. I was already getting shifty looks from the freedom fighters, sir. If I didn't lay low, then they would have..." The fox was cut off abruptly by the mad doctor. "No! Your job was to get whatever information you can and report it back to me immediately." Danny shivered up as the doctor continued to bark at her incompetence and lack of warning to the Empire. "Grr, blast it! I'll send these blueprints to Ma and have him find a way to counteract the weapon. You will be reassigned to another mission when I need anything else to be stolen." How's my Eggman impression, guys? May not be the best, but I give it my try. Eggman waved the fox to leave, still disappointed and furious at Danny's actions. The fox sighed and left his presence, not muttering another word. Missions have become harder and harder with every task. The doctor was always placing additional tasks on top of the main objectives, leaving her undercover for months. The freedom fighters have been on edge and defenses were raised, making Danny's directives difficult to accomplish. Her cybernetics could only take her so far. Danny was already stressed undercover. Her boss's anger only made it worse. She hated getting talked down to since she still was fragile individual. Then again, she never liked getting talked to one-on-one with anyone regarding her work. Most of them ended with the other calling her stupid or unfit for the job, leaving her in the dust with barely any room to improve. She walked down the corridors with her head hanging low, trying to reach to her room. She needed some time alone to relieve her stress. Alice was with the Pronghorn sisters, since Danny never knew when she would return. She had the room all to herself for the night. The fox sighed in relief and threw herself onto the nearby couch. A nearby couch, my bad. Danny lay there silent for several minutes, trying to catch her breath and get off her aching feet. The fox noticed her tablet on the coffee table and decided to check her messages in case something was wrong with her sister, or if Eggman wanted to put her back into the work field to redeem herself. No notifications came up, giving her a sense of relief. After lazing around on the couch, Danny decided to take a long shower to cool off and get the dirt and grime out of her fur. Yeah, I know how that feels. Ugh. It's just bad when you actually have a lot of work and you just really want to wash that off. Yes, I know that feeling. She started to remove her clothes and entered the bathroom. She locked the door and makes sure no one disturbs her and turned the water on. The fox stepped in and proceeded to wash herself off. The cold, fresh water was soothing as the soap and dirt ran off of her fur. Off of her fur. Ugh. Bad wording is bad. Danny looked at the shower head, remembering the nights she would have back at home after working for 3 in the afternoon until 1 in the morning, just to make ends meet. The exhaustion and fugitive. I don't get it. She was tiresome. How she wished she could quit, but her sister was her main drive. She didn't want to be completely alone and separated from her. The cost was her life, and she paid it happily, with no hesitation, since the gun, G-U-N, wouldn't give a damn to actually lend a hand. That rhymed. She remembered just lying on the floor and letting the water run off of her, and the sound of the pittering drone out her soft cries. The fox slowly slid down the wall of the shower and lay down on the cold tile. Danny stayed there silently, letting the water numb her pain, but it wasn't enough. I can see why she's friends with Connie. If you guys have known Danny for a little while, you probably know what I mean by that. I don't want to get into detail for those who don't know her. Let's just say, it's not very pretty. She needed something more physical, and she had a certain idea in her mind. She closed her eyes for a few seconds, imagining herself back at her home. She opened her eyes and thought she was splattered of crimson all over the tiles and washing down the drain. The vision blurred, then faded away. Danny knew the blood wasn't there, but she knew it used to be there. Sometimes after battles and sometimes after her little episodes, the fox turned off the water and drained some portions of her body off. She didn't care about her hair and tail, just what was to come next. She entered her room and put on some shorts and a sleeveless shirt to wear. So usual attire, huh? Something comfortable when she goes to sleep. Digging underneath her bed, she finds a small wooden box. It was her Exactro knife kit. Oh boy, her father gave it to her years ago for her crafts. But now they serve as her painkillers. Oh boy, that's not good. She does this once a week, twice at best, depending on her stress and mood. But after a certain snake had discovered her little secret, she felt a bit hesitant to actually go through with it. This is actually a sequel to that one story? I didn't know that. Maybe I'll get around to doing it. But it's in a journal, guys. So, Danny, if you're actually watching this, then feel free to take those type of journal stories and actually put them into stories here, because I want to read them. She actually skipped out on it for a couple times. Danny grabbed a handle and screwed the blade into place. She stared at the blade as it glistened in the darkness. She couldn't help but be reminded of the snake's glistening eyes. It's Mordred, guys, just so you know. She and Mordred are a thing in this series. So warm, so inviting. She remembered what he said. If she felt like doing this again, just call him and he would be there for her in a heartbeat. Hesitation started to creep up on her, but her pain was still screaming higher. Danny sighed as a single tear fell from her cheek. She placed the sharp metal upon a pre-existing mark upon her left arm and proceeded to trace it. Cutting open her flesh, blood slowly seeping out of the new cut as she continued to trace out the rest. When the fox decided to move to her right side, something stopped her. Something was holding her hand in place above her arm, with a small voice echoing in her mind. Call him. It said this force wouldn't budge unless it was that action. Danny tried to fight back, but she had to give in. Her Ned released its grip on the blade and sat there in a daze. She went up to the very mirror across her room and stared at her reflection. She couldn't recognize the girl in the mirror. Her anger and frustration boiled as for a split second. She thought the mirror talked to her. Oh, why am I remembering that one story that involved Conquering Storm? This slightly feels like that. I don't know, maybe inspirations of your old work actually can make its way into this. Happens to types. You're worthless. No, wait. You're worthless. In Danny's blind rage, she slammed her fist against the fragile glass, shattering the illusion. Pain ripped through her hand as she tried to stop the bleeding in panic. The fox grabbed a white towel and tried to wipe the blood away. The fox would stay there sobbing quietly, waiting for the bleeding to stop. A few minutes passed and the pain slowly subsided, but didn't leave her completely. The glass shards were still in her palm after all. Danny slowly got up and made her way to the couch and tried to find where she placed her tablet. Lo and behold, it was still there, laying on the table. Turning it on, she opened the message app and typed the name Mordred into her contact search. His caller ID and number showed up, but his profile showed her was unbelievable. Hey, unavailable. My bad. My bad, guys. Misreading. Should I really try? The fox pondered. He isn't there. What makes you think he will pick up? Wait, what makes you think he'll pick up? She was about to turn off the tablet and treat her injuries herself, but then a notification popped up. It was the Irish Cobra leaving a message asking if she had arrived back from her mission yet. Her hazel eyes glistened with a tingle of hope. Tinge of hope. Eh. Her right eye would mirror her left's actions if it wasn't cybernetic. She slowly tapped the screen to speed dial the Cobra's number. The device rang for a few minutes, making the fox grow uneasy. She could just imagine it. She did lose some blood, not enough to kill her, but just enough to start making her hallucinate. Danny placed her head against the table and was about to leave, but her ears picked up a faint voice. Danny? It was him. It had to be. The fox's voice perked up. How the heck do you honestly do that? It's weird. Mordred? Is that you? Yeah, it's me. Yeah, it's me. The fox felt relieved to hear his voice once again. Such an odd feeling. So foreign to her. Are you able to visit right now? A brief moment of silence followed. Danny grew nervous as she waited for the Cobra's response. Okay then. I'll be there in an hour or so. The fox cut him off. Can you please come now? She felt ashamed to ask him for help, especially after the last time he saw her in this state. She exhaled and said, I need your help. She waited. Complete silence reigned through the darkened room. Okay. I'm coming over. My Mordred impression is definitely getting better. Sire, are you sure this is a good idea? Because I do believe this is not going to work. We should at least recuperate before we do something rational. I could get better than that. Danny had a faint smile on her face as he hung up. He's on his way. Everything will be alright when he comes. It always is. The voice from earlier said as she started to feel weary. The blue fox fell upon her side and blacked out, just hoping that he would be here when she opened her eyes again. All she could see was black. She still had some senses of hearing and sensation. The soft sounds of metal clinking outside her door would be faintly heard, but it would always fade in and out. The only thing that stayed was the cold air that gripped her. If she wasn't halfly bleeding to death, maybe it wouldn't bother her. Maybe she would be able to get up and walk, or at least see what is several inches in front of her. Mordred. She faintly called out for reasons she never knew. She just couldn't understand why she relied on the Irish cobra so much. He had done something to her that she couldn't understand. Nothing forceful, but something out of her reach. Something she had cut off that he was trying to reconnect. A strange sixth sense, if you will at it. If you will it. She didn't know, but it was about to be answered. Danny all of a sudden felt something warm wrap around her shoulders, and cover her upper half. It was someone familiar. She knew it. But if she could see her rescuer, it would be nicer. Danny felt her body being picked up and laid down on the soft surface. The texture of the soft area gave her the impression that she was on her bed. Her hearing started to clear as she heard panicked footsteps and shuffled several feet away from her. The grinding sounds of something being dragged on the ground and plastic hitting the floor. Danny felt perspiration course through her veins and tried to get up. She needed to see her mysterious rescuer. A light blue screen on her right eye activated, showing that it was rebooting itself. Her organic eye slowly cleared, seeing the metal ceiling. She turned to her right, seeing a green blur pulling out the shards of glass from her hand. The fox still couldn't make out the figure, but her senses told her otherwise. Mordred? The figure didn't speak, only stayed silent. Only patched up the wounds from earlier. The figure then sat next to the fox and gently stroked her hazel hair. Danny turned to face the figure. After a few minutes, her vision became clear, and her cybernetics successfully restarted itself. The fox blinked a couple of times and started to readjust. She slowly arose and faced her rescuer, his soft golden eyes gazing into hers. He came just like he said he would. Irish Cobra sat there with a relieved look upon his face. Mordred sighed in relief, seeing Danny was all right. She felt horrible for making him panic. Mordred, I didn't mean to. The fox was cut off when the snake came in close and wrapped his arms around her in a tight embrace. Danny stood frozen for a moment until she slowly wrapped her arms around him. She wanted this comforting embrace to last longer. I'm glad you're okay, Mordred softly spoke, unwrapping his arms around her. But the fox didn't want to. The cobra found this odd, yet he didn't mind. She doesn't like relying on others when she's in trouble. He wrapped his arms around her again. He could sense something was wrong on the inside. After a few more minutes, Danny finally let go, realizing what she was doing. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. She felt embarrassed that she did that. Mordred gave her a supervised smile and said, "It's okay. I'm just glad that you're okay and that you called." The fox looked up to his eyes. You are? Of course. You know I can't stand it when you are hurt, especially when it's you causing the damage. The fox stayed silent. She felt like he was mad at her. She tilted her head down. Mordred knew what she was thinking. He has been trying to repair the damage to her heart that many had left behind on her. Mordred knew her life was rough and had left her scarred or scared. I don't know. But he wasn't going to give up. He tilted the fox's chin and stroked her cheek. I know it's hard to recover after being alone for years, but there are people here who care. I care about you. All I want to do is help you, but I need you to let me in first. He placed his hands firmly upon her shoulders and looked into her eyes. I love you. I told you this months ago. I tell you this every time I see you, and I will keep saying it until I die. You may not believe me still, but I will wait. I'll keep waiting until you realize how much I care, and only want to see you smile. Ah, Mordred, he's so sweet. Oh, I can see why Danny, of course, would pick him. Just the poor snake. He just needs more love. Oh, man. Mordred needs a hug. He really does. Oh, man. That's just so sweet. Anyways. Danny had heard this same speech over and over again for 2 months. Every time she was upset or suicidal. But this time felt different. She felt shaken at his words. Why was it only now she felt something different about it? The fox would always fight back tears because she never could believe those words were true. But this felt real to her. Mordred could tell she was breaking down and quickly held her in his embrace once again to comfort her. Danny started to cry into his shoulder. The cobra's words had impacted her in a whole new way. Something within her was finally starting to heal after all those years of bitter hatred and neglect. After so many years, she could finally breathe. Thank you. Mordred was taken back a bit and started to tear up as well. She finally was breaking out of her old chains that held her down. She realized how much people really do care and look out for her. She could trust others around her. The cobra smiled as a few tears fell from his cheeks. I will get better from here. I promise. Oh wait, that's Mordred talking. Ugh. It will get better from here. I promise. Both works the same. The two stayed together for the rest of the night until the crack of dawn, both happy in each other's presence. And that's pretty much it. Well, I gotta say, this was actually nice, and plus, it's another MorDanny story. Because, come on, Danny and Mordred, they're just adorable together. I mean, seriously. Even Danny herself says that she definitely loves her snaky boy. Oh, man. And Danny, this was really nice. This was relatively sweet. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys like this, and I will see you all later. And boy, does it feel great to wear this mask again, because I really miss wearing this. Because come on, you want to look professional wearing this, even though clearly I'm wearing this. Oh well. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.